Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. We got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys today. We're going to be discussing what the Hawks did today transaction-wise. They waived Patty Mills, signed Trent Forrest to a standard NBA contract, and because he used all of his two-way deals, the only contract that he's available for is for the remainder of this season. So he will be a free agent after the end of the season. The Hawks also, without Trae Young for the next 4 weeks at least, with ligament surgery on that left hand, and they start 2-0. We're going to be discussing, what we've seen from them and what we can expect them moving forward, the effects of the Trae injury, as well as Onyeka Okongwu being out for a foreseeable future. We still don't have a timeline on him really. And then at the end, a little bit of Braves talking about some spring training highlight performances, some things to go over there because baseball's around the corner. So without further ado, let's get into this. All right. So we saw the news today, signing Trent Forrest, waiving Patty Mills. And what was your first thoughts when you saw this?
You know what? When I first seen this news on Twitter, I was like, he deserves a chance, to be honest. He's been, just sitting in the back, trying to wait his turn, and we wasn't really using Patty Mills like that as it was. So why not?
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say with Trent Forrest. Well, just purely in a vacuum, Trent Forrest is a better player than Patty Mills. I think we can agree on that.
Yes.
And the Hawks needed they need as much defensive help as they can get. So finding a better defender that rather than keeping Patty Mills, just from those two moves specifically, that is the better time. And I know the immediate thought heads to, oh no, what happens with Kobe Buffkin? And he's been playing recently, playing really well. Do you think that Quinn Snyder, the Hawks, will play Trent Forrest over Kobe Buffkin now that he is active and available for tonight's game against the Nets in Brooklyn?
I don't think that he's going to play Trent over Kobe, but I think he will get some burn in the rotation. I do think that.
Okay, so then I think Kobe would. He played almost 20 minutes last game, so that would probably have to come down to the low teens, mid-teens for Trent Forrest to get any substantial type of role consistently on his team. But yeah, I agree, Ant. It's not that big of a deal. They kind of had him just sitting there on the end of the bench, inactive, couldn't play. So might as well, in case they need him. In case they need him for guard depth, definitely sign him. But yeah. Quinn really likes Trent. Obviously, he was in there in Utah when he coached the Jazz. So that is a little bit concerning if he plays him over Buffkin. I will say if that happens, then I'm just really confused at this franchise direction. I thought Trae going down is definitely unfortunate, but it did kind of force the hand of the organization to kind of lean into Buffkin minutes as far as just in the rotation, because you couldn't play DeJounte 40 minutes and then play Bogey at point guard or have Jalen run point guard. They just can't do that. So hopefully Kobe still maintains in the rotation, because I think he's been amazing so far. He hasn't done anything too flashy on offense. Like, he's handled the ball in pick and roll situations pretty well. That's fine. But defensively, it's just been to another level. We haven't seen this guard defense that Buffkin has played over the past 2 games since DeLon Wright was here, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. It's been like night and day.
Yeah, and also when Kobe's next to Murray, that's just a bigger backcourt. So it is going to help a little bit there. But overall, Patty Mills, he was one of those veteran guys they brought in. They got him from a trade from the Thunder before the season started. He never really had a mainstay in the rotation, other than a couple times where for a week or two he would get some minutes, bring some energy off the bench. He had a couple games where he really impacted it, but overall he didn't he really didn't impact the rotation that much. So I don't think losing him is too big of a deal there.
No, we're not gonna really take a hit. Like, like per se, if we lost, I don't know, like a DJ or or DeAndre or somebody like that, then we will take a major hit. But losing Patty, somebody that barely got any burn on the bench, nah, I don't think so.
Yeah. What do you think would be something that what would your reaction be if they played Trent over Kobe and Kobe was just out of the rotation again?
I would kind of be like, why? Like, you haven't really you haven't really gave him a chance to really prove that he doesn't deserve any any playing time. So why would you just you sign this guy to a contract and you just automatically put him over over him? That doesn't make any sense, to me.
Yeah, I think for Buffkin, he spent this time in the G League. He paid his dues almost in the G League, and that I would like to think, I'll phrase it that way. I would like to think that we would have seen Kobe Buffkin earlier this season rather than now if he didn't get hurt and miss like 2 months with that hand injury. I would like to think that. So if that's the case, then that definitely puts faith in that Kobe will be a mainstay in the rotation and still get those all the backup point guard minutes when DeJounte heads to the bench. But speaking of backup point guard minutes, the Hawks are starting 2-0 with Trey. I think Buffkin's been a large part of that, especially defensively. I thought DeJounte playing point guard, his natural position. Obviously, he's just going to look better when he's playing point guard. And it's weird because on the post-deadline press conference, I forgot who it was, but somebody asked Landry Fields about the sample size and the numbers about DeJounte and Trey and the on and off court numbers. Both of them play better when only one of them is on the court. So Trey plays better without DeJounte. DeJounte plays better without Trey. Do you think that's really something that fans should look into and say, okay, this franchise needs to choose one and get rid of another?
I mean, I don't know. Like it's a sticky situation because which way do you go? Because if you go with Trey, then you're saying we're all about offense. But then if you go with DeJounte, then now you got to find somebody to take their number 2 role. So it's like, which way? Like you have to choose, which way you want to go.
Yeah, I don't think they'll make a decision like that. For me, I think the organization still looks to trade DeJounte in the offseason. I don't think they'll necessarily put Trey on the trading block this offseason just because, to me, it's a little bit early. And also if you say this season that Jalen Johnson and Trae Young are your building blocks, then you put Trey on the trading block right after that. That stuff is that's crazy to me. So I still think it's not gonna be that they're gonna choose this offseason, but I think it's more of the process of like, okay, some fans are saying, look at this team, it's so much better without Trey, which to me is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But the defense has gotten better, and it will probably be naturally better without Trey. But I don't want to take anything away from what the team is doing now. They're playing really good. The defense is really good. Obviously, the offense struggled. There has been overall the point total has been okay, but less. Only 32 threes last game, and then there's also the case where in the first quarters of so many games, there's been so many ruts offensively of 5 or 6 minutes of only scoring 2 points or no points where with Trey on the court, that doesn't happen as much.
Yeah. We've been struggling in the first halves of games and scoring. Like we start off like we're sleepwalking.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But we'll turn it on. Once we catch our second win, then we don't look back.
And what's up?
Well, what's up, guys? All I want to say is that I think the defense just looks so much better when you just only have one small point guard on the court at all times instead of two, and that's just really the main thing that just harms. That just causes so many of the defensive problems on the defense, and why the Trey and DeJounte front backcourt, I mean, just causes so much problems because Trey and DeJounte it just causes so many problems with our point of attack defense. Like they're just unable to just like stop anybody from getting to the rim. Like because we're able to run a normal guard rotation with Trey out, we're able to play Kobe Buffett, who's basically our best perimeter guard defender, right? Like our defense is basically gonna be significantly better because of that. Instead of just playing Trey and DeJounte, who, no offense to them, they're not really great defenders like all the time, like we usually do, like 20 minutes a game.
Yeah,
it's. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was kind of going to piggyback off that point. Like DeJounte hasn't been the best defender next to Trey, obviously. But he's more of like that havoc creator, trying to get into those passing lanes. That's his specialty. With a little bit more length on the court, that allows him to do it a bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily. I think the biggest thing that I've seen has just been playing a little bit more drop coverage as well. Because in these two games, it's going to sound like I'm discrediting the wins, which I really don't want to. But Clint Capella, Saddiq Bey, especially those two guys, all play better defense in drop coverage. And you play drop coverage against two teams, the Magic without Paolo Banchero, without a good offensive point guard, and the Jazz without a real point guard, offensive connector. They have two shooting guards starting at one, Keontae George, Colin Sexton, and both shooting guards, in my opinion. Not an offensive connecting kind of group there. If you play drop coverage against that just bodes well for your entire defense. And I think that's why you saw, especially in the second half, why Clint was able to look so much better in that second half after a really rough first half, and the game after that. He looked much better in the second half. And then you've seen Saddiq Bey play much better defense over these past two games as well. And just because I think the defensive philosophy that you can play if you're trying to win now against the poor offensive guard teams is just going to be a lot better with drop coverage. It just suits this roster.
And I want to say, like, mentioning things like the poor guard play of like the Jazz and the Magic, like, I don't think that's necessarily discrediting the wins. Like, those are just facts. Like, it is what it is. Like, we would have been saying it either way if Trey was playing it. Like, if we lost against them, like, I mean, we would have been saying, like, how can we lose against them when they have such terrible guard play? Like, I mean, that's just how it is. I mean, I think my main worry about this team going forward is, are we going to have enough offense to be able to win these games? Because there were times, even when we were up double digits, like during the Jazz game, like, I was worried we were not able to score enough because it just seemed like our pace of scoring just wasn't enough to like overcome anything. Like that's a weird way of explaining it. I think maybe you kind of get what I'm saying. I don't know.
I'm kind of confused.
No, you don't. Yeah. Like it's basically like it feels like even though like we have a lead, it just feels like it could just be overcome at any moment because we weren't scoring enough. Like that's the best way I can put it. Like
okay,
yeah.
It's like that. Like
we've seen it happen.
Yeah, basically, like without Trey, because with Trey, he's able to run just such an efficient offense. He's such an efficient scorer, and DeJounte is just not able to do that.
I think for DeJounte, the biggest thing is for him being able to get to the rim, be able to get to the free throw line, And that's how Trey a lot of times supplements some bad shooting nights with, he'll shoot the volume of threes. He'll get to the free throw line. That's why he can have these, 20-point games without being so efficient. Now, obviously, on the box score, it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, at the end of the game, those points are on the scoreboard.
Yeah.
So like for DeJounte, if he has a bad shooting night, I want him to be able to supplement that and get those free throw attempts higher because he can do it. We've seen him get to the rim on multiple occasions throughout a game, and tonight against the Nets with some poor defense up top from the guards, I'm going to look for him to do that as well. Obviously, when Dennis Smith comes into the game, that's a bit different. Obviously, he's a great defender, but other than that, if he's not in the game, I'm going to look for DeJounte to kind of get to the rim, especially if Ben Simmons is not on him.
Oh yeah, Ben Simmons got ruled out tonight. So
he's not playing. There you go. So
yeah.
He's been in and out. The Nets have 5 games next week, by the way. It's crazy stuff right there.
Oh yeah,
so he's two back-to-backs. He's not playing more than 3 games next week. No way. But and what have you seen in these 2 games without Trey?
Well,
go ahead.
Because
we're both ants.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go to Big Ant. Go to Big Ant.
Yeah, Big Ant first, then Mushroom Ant.
I mean, as we've all pointed out, our defense has stepped up tremendously. And we haven't seen those drop-offs in the third quarter that we have with Trey on the floor. But to counteract that, we've come out struggling in the first halves. Now, granted, it is against, Utah and who was the other one?
Orlando without
Orlando. Now, granted, those are, okay teams, but against better stellar talented teams, I don't know. We might be looking at, like 1-1 or something like that. So I just want us to, get out of, we have to. We don't need to, we have to get out of struggling, to score, at times.
Yeah, I don't think this team is better without Trey. That's to me like a lot. I've seen obviously a lot of people saying that it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But I want to see this team go against somebody with good guard play, at like Cleveland, Boston, Tyrese Maxey, even Philadelphia. Now that without Embiid, with the Knicks too, without Embiid,
yes,
Philly's not a great team, but they still have Tyrese Maxey, a great scoring guard. So I'm interested to see what they do against the Nets tonight. It's another one of those they got Mikal Bridges, who's he's a good player, but he's not a number one on a championship team. I think we all know this. He's not been efficient this year. He's not been good. And to me, we'll kind of preview the game later, but I just want the Hawks not to double Bridges at all. Like, let him go off for 40 if he does, but don't let anyone else go crazy.
Don't let the others beat you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm focusing on for the game. But something we've also seen without Trey, well, this was with Trey as well. We got to talk about what DeAndre Hunter's doing right now. Off the bench, in a high 20 minutes, putting up over 50% from 3, over 50% from the field. Now, I think over 50% from the field, with the kind of shots he's taking right now, that has the ability to stick. That 3-point percentage is probably going to come down. Nobody's a 50% 3-point shooter for a long period of time. Not even Steph Curry. So that number is probably going to come down. But what he's doing right now, catching the ball, going straight to the rim, being aggressive, finding his shot when he needs to. This has been probably the most fluid on the offensive end Dre has looked in a while.
As a former DeAndre Hunter hater, I would like to formally apologize to him because I did not expect him to adapt to Quinn Snyder's system so well. Like, he has honestly really, really impressed me. Like, his decision making has been really quick. Like he's going to the rim, like you said. He's making quick decisions. Like he's playing like a 6 man of the year candidate off the bench. He's just a great addition. He's just great off the bench. Like I don't know what else you could say. Like I know like it's probably gonna be hard to trade him, but like you just can't trade him. Like he's just really good off the bench. Like I don't know what else you could say. Like
and if you trade him, you're most likely not getting back somebody of the caliber defense wise that he provides.
No,
like
you're
not close.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
okay. No, I was just saying you're not gonna get back what you got in him. No.
Yeah, unless you could like package him in a deal with DeJounte with the Pelicans this offseason, like you get back Herb Jones. I mean that's something that maybe can be explored. But the biggest thing for me is I think D Lee put up this stat. He mentioned it to Quinn. The Hawks are averaging 3 less points per game on cuts since the date that DeAndre Hunter got back in the lineup and was like done with his minutes restriction. Like it looks like he's done with his minutes restriction, playing upper 20s. That has been here for almost a week now. Seems that's what the Hawks want to keep him at. And I know I said this throughout the entire night. I've said it on We Talk Hawks. You know, this show, So Many Spaces, my podcast, Sports Ethos, and Atlanta Hawks podcast. If you're not following Ethos Hawks on Twitter, by the way, go follow that account. 500 followers. We are doing a giveaway, so make sure go over there, follow that. But I've always said DeAndre Hunter, his defense on the back line is just so important. You know, Jalen is a good defender. Onyeka is a good defender. Yeah, Clint is still a service defender for sure. But what DeAndre does to organize the communication, preventing the back cuts, he's by far the best of that on the team. And we've seen his impact come up huge in these 2 games. They don't win these 2 games without DeAndre for sure. What's up, Will?
Long time no see, Mikey.
It has been indeed. Well, so what you been thinking about the Hawks recently?
Oh man, the Hawks been a confusing team to me. I don't know what to think about them, dog. Like the one moment you have hope for them, then next moment they lose 4 in a row. So I don't know. But I do know I like DeAndre Hunter coming off the bench. He been balling, man. You've been balling for the last 4 games now.
Yeah, and we mentioned today on a space, and I'll go to Big Ant first here. We mentioned today at a Twitter space about how Trey being out. Obviously, Trey and Jalen have a great connection, right? It's been so great to see them, especially how they work on the short roll, on the lobs, and just everything about those two just scream connection. But Jalen playing without Trey is good for him at a development standpoint because he's had Trey put him in the greatest spots to succeed. But now Jalen's kind of get his own number. DeJounte hasn't really been that connector as far as getting Jalen in his spots for most of the season. What are you seeing from Jalen Johnson, especially in last night's game, where he was kind of being aggressive, really running the offense most of the time, especially in the second half? What have you seen from him without Trey that's encouraged you?
Well, me personally, on a grander scale, throughout the whole season, he is my most improved player of this whole season. Because nobody's seen this coming. I mean, yes, we've seen glimpses of it, but he like A1 31 37 Sauce just said, he is a playmaker. He knows how to make the right play, not just making any play. So that's what that's what really I seen from him, especially in the last game.
He threw some ridiculous passes last game. I know Glenn Willis had a couple of the plays on his Twitter today. He faked the pass to the corner, kind of look away, threw it this way. I mean, those are ridiculous passes from Jalen. Something that you'd see Trey do, or you'd see one of these elite point guards doing. That's coming out of your forward, and the way he gets into transition, that's when he can utilize those abilities best.
Mm-hmm.
And were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything. I just
Okay.
agree with you.
Yeah. Also, to this 2-0 start without Trey. I think we've seen a little bit of transformation from Saddiq Bey, and he went through that huge shooting slump, and that was not pretty to watch, of course. But during the end of that slump, he got to the rim more. He got to the free throw line. He was using his strength on post ups, and I think that has opened his 3-point game back up a little bit to where he doesn't only have to rely on it for his offensive production. Obviously, that is his go-to. But when that's not falling, he's been able to impact the game offensively in other areas, and that's been really important.
I think having someone like Saddiq Bey, like getting to the free throw line, using his physicality to go to the free throw line, stuff like that, especially with Trey out, it's gonna be huge, especially because since we know how much of a hit the offense is gonna take right now. And I think it is an underrated value of Saddiq with his physicality, because that's probably what's saving him from just not being like a complete zero basically on offense for the most part this season. I feel like just the way that he just drives the rim, like from like the beginning of the season to now, like I feel like he just transformed his game completely basically.
Yeah, it's been really good to see, and honestly, I didn't see it coming because we know during that slump when he was shooting, it was like, oh man, like this is just rough. Like
It was a disaster.
you wanted to see the ball go
Yeah.
in just for him, like to get that confidence up there. But I think he's been better on defense as well lately, especially playing that drop coverage, and also we're seeing a Bogey DeJounte backcourt now. It's taller, it's bigger than a Trey and DeJounte backcourt, but DeJounte and Bogey, both of them aren't necessarily the best point of attack defenders. What do you think has been? Well, we talked about the drop coverage. We talked about, we didn't actually talk about this. Is what I want to bring up. The Hawks are able to switch a lot easier with Trey off the flat. It's just plain and simple. Like they're just taller, and I think that conserves energy. It also just doesn't make it as easy for other players to say, okay, we have Trey Young on us. Let's just post up here. Now, while Trey's been a better defender this year than he has been throughout his career, and he's definitely upped his intensity on that end, it still just makes it easier for the Hawks in general just to conserve a little bit more energy on the defensive end and just be able to switch more pick and rolls, I think. Would you agree, Bang?
Oh yeah. Yeah, we can switch a lot better on defense without Trey because of the length that we have 1 through 5. I mean, we can switch 1 through 5 and all that. And we don't have to play zone like that anymore.
Yeah, it's something that I wish we didn't have though was Okongwu being out for the foreseeable future. We still don't have a timeline on him, and in the switching defense, Okongwu would really excel because we know he can switch onto guard, kind of put some resistance on the perimeter in that 1-5 pick and roll. It's just unfortunate timing with his injury, especially without Trey and Jalen playing with Capella. You've seen Jalen have so much more success with him at the 5 or playing next to Bruno than with Capella, and that's why what Trey does for Capella on offense is just it kind of puts it more into the spotlight, kind of what he does as far as the pick and roll game, alley-oops, lobs, just the way he's able to get passes because Clint has pretty much been a non-factor offensively in both of these games.
Let me ask you something, Mikey. Do you think the Hawks should sign another center right now for a 10-day contract?
Nope. I know that there are people calling for that, but I think Clint, he's still a serviceable center. Bruno has been playing much better lately, and also other fans have mentioned this too. Let's see what Jalen Johnson can give the Hawks at the 5. This is how the league is trending. Small ball. That we've gone to that small ball lineup a few times during these 2 games, and it juiced the offense completely. Both times the offense has responded when Quinn Snyder moved Jalen Johnson to the 5. They've scored 4 or 5 possessions in a row. And I think that's not a coincidence because you have nobody blocking the lane. They're able to go to the rim. DeJounte gets to the rim a lot easier without Clint and Bruno on the floor. He still does it with Bruno on the floor. Clint is kind of a little bit more difficult there. But with Jalen Johnson at the 5, you're seeing a more fast-paced offense. And without Trey, I think that's just going to bode well. Obviously, it's going to lead to rebounding problems. Jalen is still he's like 6'9", so he still's got those rebounding problems against those taller centers. But you got to give a little to get a little, especially when you're down the 2 key injuries that the Hawks are with Trey and Onyeka.
Yeah,
Will, what have you thought of these past two games as far as the Hawks offense and defense?
Well, they've been showing I see we got a little depth. Our depth is stepping up. So that's what it showed me. I don't know about folks trying to run Trey out of town. Let's not get a little too happy about what's been going on right now. I mean, just let's take what our depth has been showing us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the bench overall has been huge. I think Bruno's played well. Garrison, I thought, has been solid in his minutes as well. Kobe, obviously, you got DeAndre doing what he's doing right now. So, yeah, but I do want to go over a little bit more of Onyeka's injury because I think this would have been, and Kevin Chouinard said this in the space that we held during the All-Star break. We had a question mark. This is the first time in a Congress career there was a question mark about whether he would start or come off the bench once Clint come back from his injury. And the fact that he got injured and we aren't able to see this when the Hawks are playing Kobe Buffkin, when kind of they wanted to lean into internal development, as Landry said in that post-deadline press conference. It's just really a terrible timing for Onyeka. Hopefully we get him back soon, though, because this is, like I said, the first time in his career probably that it's either been, is it going to be Clint? Is it going to be Onyeka? The Hawks didn't really know.
With the way that Clint looked at the beginning of some of these games after the deadline, if Onyeka was healthy, I think he would have started. I think if you look at several of these Hawks lineups, there are only 2 people that are consistently positive. It's Bogey and Onyeka. Onyeka just helps this offense so much. And with Quinn Snyder's system, he's just such a positive for this defense. I think it was going to eventually happen, especially with the way the league views Clint as a backup center. But it's just such a sad timing that Onyeka got injured, and he probably won't start for the rest of the season, barring
Yeah, because he'll come back. He'll come back, be on a minutes restriction.
Yeah.
Kind of get conditioning up. What are your thoughts on that, Big Ant?
Yeah, I agree. I agree because I think it's gonna be just like when Clint came back. He's gonna be on the minutes restriction, like you said, and then by the time he comes back, it's gonna be crunch time. So why would you break up what you already have going for you then just to get him back in the starting rotation?
Yeah, the unfortunate part there. But we get a comment here.
Has Onyeka showed us to be a starter yet, though? Has he shown to be a starter?
I think so.
He still ain't going to be that consistent.
I think you got to know what you have. I think you got to know what you have with him because Clint has not been good this season. He's had his moments for sure. He had a 2-week stretch about December where he was playing really well. But other than that,
he definitely let me down. I was his biggest supporter. And this man, he been playing like hot garbage. Blackbeard say garbage. He been playing terrible, man.
What? Okay, Raymond. What if Mikey? You criticized my C- end of the year grade on Capella. I like him, but he's limited. Same as last year. Got a Fitbit on. I mean, C- for this year on Capella. I think that's fair. Yeah, I would probably go around C minus C, and then because it's mainly on the defensive side. Like obviously we know Clint has struggles offensively, but it's kind of just sad to see the way that teams go at him on the rim 2 years ago or a year and a half ago even. That never happens. And I remember the one game against the Pacers. It was without Tyrese Halliburton. The Pacers just kept going to the paint no matter what. They would drive at Clint. And 2 years ago, he would send those shots back into the stands. But it's just that game really told me that he just doesn't have what he once was, that defensive player of the year potential which he almost had in 2021.
Hey, we can actually say we've been getting bad play from the center position all season because Yucca ain't been what we thought he needed to be. He ain't been.
He had a slow start. After December, he's been really good. But yeah, before that, he was disappointing for sure. But with that being said, I was really encouraged by Capella's second half against the Jazz. I think hopefully that he was able to get his legs under him. He caught an alley-oop, blocked John Collins a couple times at the rim. And by the way, let's talk a little bit about that because we had JC come back, and in that first quarter, he had 2 turnovers that just kind of epitomized something that John Collins did a lot when he was here. He did a spin move, dribbled off his foot, and it led to 2 live ball turnovers. I couldn't help but smile a little bit just because I've seen that too many times.
I take John Collins probably is the reason why they lost that game because I think he absolutely derailed them from the start. I cannot believe you 4 turnovers in 6 minutes. Like that's that's embarrassing. I know this is a Hawks chat thing, but I will never understand why they just don't start Walker Kessler over John Collins. I get it's NBA politics. John Collins gets paid more, but it's just you got a young center who plays good. Just start him.
Yeah, Walker Kessler played 30 minutes off the bench against us, and lately he's just been getting inconsistent minutes all the time. It's kind of weird there. But it was. But regardless of the encore play, what did you think of? I was at the game, but what did y'all think of the ovation of that JC got during the first time out with the tribute video and stuff? I don't know if they showed it on the podcast though.
I think it was. Oh, go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
I was surprised by the ovation you got. I thought they hated him.
Oh, what?
I thought the fan hated him or something. Everybody was talking about trading.
What?
Yeah, they used to always talk about trade John Collins. Trade Collins.
Hawks Twitter hates him.
Yeah, that part. Hawks Twitter hates him.
Okay.
But even if even people who really, really wanted him traded, you cannot deny he was such a good person. He's just such a good person in general. You could see him dapping up the security guards before the game, talking to fans. And he was fans, in my opinion, always loved JC, the person that was JC. And a lot of the times, to me, it was more of, okay, JC is a good player, and in the right situation, especially with a stretch big, he could be excellent in the as a role man because he's one of the best role men in the NBA. There's no whatever. There's no argument against that. But his situation is kind of similar to what the Hawks are. JC's not good at the 5 defensively, and if he plays next to Walker Kessler, the spacing is kind of an issue there. So it is what it is. But I thought the tribute video was really good, and he got a huge ovation. He got a huge ovation after the video. I was really happy that he got what he deserved because honestly, it's good. It's good that the fans nobody booed.
No, nobody booed. I mean, I think it was genuine because most of the real fans here loved him because he did so much for this team.
Yeah, and even if you wanted him traded, I still hope people know that. I mean, he was great before Capella got here, and then when Capella got here, his numbers kind of dipped, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's just it was kind of the thing where, you know, with the contract and kind of the organization, the direction they were going, the way Jalen Johnson was kind of surfacing up, it was probably time, and unfortunately had to go. But at the end of the day, he comes back, plays bad, and the Hawks win. So there you go. The Hawks win is the most important thing there.
He was the underrated part of the ECF run.
Oh no, he was so good, especially in that Bucks series. He was so good. He hit that game. He hit that 3 in the corner there against the Bucks series. Also had that lob off the backboard. Obviously that playoff run, the dunk over Embiid. So there's a lot of good JC memories here in Atlanta for sure. Even though most of the fan base, understandably, wanted him traded. But I do want to speak a little bit before we get out of here about the Braves, because spring training has started. Let's talk about some highlight performances, some unexpected performances. We've got Michael Harris mashing home runs already, so that's pretty normal right there. We
know they a little slow in they always slow in spring training, so we got to let the bats heat up a little bit.
I mean, you never put too much stock into spring training as far as how somebody's going to do. Even though what's funny is I did base that off my Marcell Ozuna prediction last year. I predicted that Marcell Ozuna was going to hit 40 homers.
He was tearing it up in preseason. So on the season started, that boy was hot garbage.
He was tearing it up in spring training. He went down to Miami, and then he was all right. Time to hit the baseball, and he just was like a over 4 WAR hitter for the rest of the year. But Michael Harris has been good already. Forrest Wall, 2-homer game today, and he and Eli White, who's also had a good spring, are now competing for that backup outfield spot. You got Jared Kelenic in left, obviously Ronald and Michael in right in center field, but. I don't know if you guys watched any spring training games, but just in general, who would you want to get that last outfield spot if it was between Eli White and Forrest Wall?
Well, they both been on and off.
Well, they both had a really good spring so far.
Right. They both been, but then we can't, like I said, we can't take a big chunk out of this spring training because White. He had a good spring training last year, but he couldn't do nothing every time they called him up to the big leagues last year. He wasn't providing
they're
anything.
Just competing for the roster spot. That's why it's so important. They're competing. I think they are, at least. I think.
What you think about Culberson pitching though?
Yeah, we were gonna get to that. I mean, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going too fast. My bad. I'm sorry.
With my speedster Forrest Wall, I go with the speedster.
I'm with Forrest Wall as well. Just for stealing bags more. I mean, obviously Eli White probably gonna hit a little bit better average. Strike out a little bit less. Just he's had more experience, obviously, in the league. But I would want to see Forrest Wall up there as well. I think he should get that spot. But let's move on to Charlie Culberson, because a scoreless inning of relief today against the Rays. Do you guys think there is a shot that Charlie Culberson makes the major league roster on opening day as a relief pitcher?
No.
I don't know. He looked at all right though today. I don't know.
Do you think he'll make the opening day roster?
Anything is possible. I just say that.
If I was the Braves, I'd give him a chance because you got still a utility player in the bullpen.
Yeah.
So that's a win-win.
I hated seeing Charlie Culberson play, so no. I'm sorry.
I would love to see it though. I was trying to find that. I couldn't watch the game, but I was trying to find the velocity on his pitches, but I couldn't find it today. But I was interested in that as well. But Ashley brought this up as well.
Yeah,
talking about Estrada.
That's the main thing.
Oh my God.
That curveball. Yes.
This looks crazy good. And here's the thing. It doesn't have that much like wicked spin on it, right? But the fact that he can throw that against guys throw that off of his power slider, off of his power fastball, and especially to righties down and away, you already have that slider. If you give them another look with a slower kind of 12 to 6, well, not his slider really goes 12 to 6, but more like a diagonal moving curveball that's slower. That just gives them a whole nother thing they need to keep in the back of their mind. And keeping hitters off Strider's fastballs is the thing that's going to make him more consistent. Because one thing I'll always say about Strider, good Strider is a top 3 pitcher in the league, easily. Yep. But he still has these kind of runs where teams will get on his fastball. His slider isn't really locating very well. And he goes through a couple, maybe 4 or 5 starts where he struggles.
That curveball been looking nasty, though.
Yeah.
That curveball been looking nasty.
That's gonna be really important.
Are we gonna be predicting Strider Cy Young on this show tonight?
Well, we're gonna do the predictions, award predictions, anything later on before the season starts. But I mean, last year he was pretty close, even with a low 4 ERA because of the strikeouts. So if he had too many of those ruts where he was in that 4 or 5 starts. I remember that one start against Pittsburgh when he lasted less than an inning. That was kind of what started that run where he just couldn't locate his pitches. But I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Spencer Strider because he is such a good pitcher. He just got to limit those runs a little bit, or those ruts where he gets into those kind of failed location with his pitches. Let's talk about the offense. Austin Riley, Marcelo Zuna, those guys that look pretty good. Ozzie Albies as well. Offensively, I'm not worried. This Braves team is still going to do what they did last year, and it's hard. It's really hard to say anything about the whole season because you pretty much bring in the same team as last year. You get better with Chris Sale, better with Jared Kelenic, in my opinion. And you just had the unfortunate trouble with the Phillies in the playoffs. That's I think they're gonna win the division again. I think they're gonna win 100 games again. Can they get past that playoff wall with the offense? Because the pitching has been pretty good in the playoffs. It really has. It's just the offense has not hit the ball. That's pretty much it.
It's just literally, can you beat the Phillies? Like, that's it. Like, did they beat the Phillies in spring training?
Did they beat the Phillies in spring training? They tied.
No,
them.
we lost. We tied it up 7-7.
We beat them in spring training.
Yeah. Does he got foot joining us here?
What's up, fellas? I got a little time.
The
young kids here, so the older went for some older kids. So
we're talking to Braves. We're talking to Braves right now.
I still had it on. I can hear y'all while I was setting stuff up, getting stuff set up. I still can hear you.
Yeah. Have you watched any spring training games?
No, I haven't. I haven't followed much of that spring training for the Braves right now. Not yet.
But yeah. What are you expecting? What are you expecting from Chris Sale? We'll start with that. What are you expecting from Chris?
Say it again.
From Chris Sale. What are you expecting from Chris Sale?
I don't know. I don't know much about him.
Chris Sale. Okay. So let's Sale obviously traded from the Red Sox to the Braves. Vaughn Grissom is gone. But what I saw from Chris Sale yesterday, I think he pitched yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I think it was yesterday.
Who did Vaughn Grissom get traded to?
What did you say, Will?
Who did Vaughn Grissom get traded to?
The Red Sox. In exchange for Chris Sale.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I really like what I saw from Chris Sale. People obviously the injury history is a concern with him, but really that's it. That's it. If he can be injury free, kind of give us close to like 150 innings, something like that. That is what I'll take from Chris Sale, especially when he's going to be the third or fourth starter. That fifth starter is still up in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other thoughts before we I know you just got on, but we're about to wrap it up here anyway.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, like I said, I was listening to y'all, man. Good show, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Yeah.
Any other final thoughts on the Braves or the Hawks before we head out of here, guys?
Man. Go ahead.
I was about to say, I'm very interested to see how this Nets game is gonna go because it really just depends. That offense, the offense really just is gonna be dependent on how consistent our forwards
Yeah.
are, basically for the most part.
And I expect the same amount of I don't know if they'll hold the team to under 100 points 3 times in a row. Like, that's really rare in today's game. Holding 110 would be impressive as well, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But this Nets team is not good offensively at all. So I expect, a similar kind of defensive performance. What about you, Foot? I know you were about to say something before.
Yeah. I mean, I expect for a first time in a while for another team that we playing. I expect them to be the jump off for us. As a whole, from a lot of these players, we should have double digit across the board.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Yeah. So, like you said, you talk about it. I just want to see how they play, right? Because we got 2 games in a row playing well. I want to see that consistency. Because when we start that consistency, we can get to the pro season when Trey get back with consistency, right? That's
Yeah.
really what I want to see, consistency.
Yep.
Gotcha. Then we'll go to Big Ant.
Yeah, I agree with what Foot is saying. I just want to see consistency. Can you keep up this, defensive intensity?
Mm-hmm.
We don't need you to hold everybody to under 100 points, but
Yeah, I ain't even worried about that.
can you just get in front of stay in front of your guy? That's all I want.
Mm-hmm. And then we'll end with Will here. Will, you there?
Yeah, like everybody else saying, bro. Just be consistent. That's all I've been asking for this whole year. Just be consistent for me, dog. Don't have me guessing which team gonna show up. I can deal with somebody being consistent, then I know what we got to deal with. But you know what I'm saying? Just come out and play. Come out and play hard. You never know what's gonna happen.
Especially them third quarters.
Yeah,
All right.
well, lately it's been the first quarter.
I
So
know.
hopefully we don't have any of those quarters in Brooklyn tonight. But yeah, with that being said, we're gonna end Georgia Sports Nation right there. Thank you guys for tuning in once again. Thanks for jumping on to the panel, guys, if you're up here. And make sure to check us out next week, Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here once again. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time.
All right,
Peace.
folks. Catch up with y'all later.
Peace.
Braves going Ronald 5080.